Are you trying to figure out the secret to happiness? Well, here at What Makes You Happy with Jake Pearson, we want to make that happiness more accessible for you in your life. So stick around as we interview everyday people, inspirational leaders, and your favorite celebrities on what makes them happy. Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? My name is Jake Pearson, and today we have with us Carrie Spranzi, a resilience coach. How are you?
Hello. Hi, I'm fabulous. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right, thank you. Where are you coming from in the world?
So I am talking to you today from Amsterdam, where I currently live, but as people may be able to hear from my accent, I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah in the United States.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today to share all things that make you happy. So could you lean into that question a little bit? What makes you happy?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm a resilience coach, and so the answer to that is broad. A lot of things make me happy: drag queens, true crime podcasts. But for the show, I think, what I'm going to say, and what I always keep coming back to, is exercising and moving my body, but particularly doing that in nature.
So why does that make you happy?
For me, that makes me happy because it's something that reminds me to be grateful for everything that I have, for a body that can get up and move no matter what is going on in my life. It reminds me that I can do hard things, and it reminds me that I'm strong. I have been a young single mom. I have been through 2 divorces. I've survived stage 4 colon cancer. I've broken my foot. I've broken my wrist. And through all of these little things that have happened, getting up and moving my body in some way has always been available to me, no matter how much money I have. If my foot's broken, then I was on a little knee scooter. When my wrist was broken, I could walk. When I was going through cancer, I could go on these little walks with my dad or with a friend. So, and every time doing that, life was tough, right? Life was hard going through colon cancer. But then when I would go out for a walk, I could be in nature and see the flowers and feel the breeze and smell the trees and listen to the birds and move my body. And it reminded me that, it's not all bad. There are these little glittery bits of joy and happiness that you can find in it, and it doesn't cost you anything. So that's why it makes me so happy.
Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story of yours. And there's something that I just wanted to touch on there. You mentioned what was most available to you. Mm-hmm. And I think in the way the world is right now, where everyone is so focused on things that they don't have or things that they need in order to be happy. And it just is a brilliant point of, well, okay, you don't need all of these things that you haven't got yet to be happy. What's available to you right now that you can take hold of and maximize your space that you're in? No matter if you're a single mom, you've just recently married, you've had kids and they've flown the coop, but what's available to you right now? So what's some advice that you might give for someone, one of the listeners that may resonate with this episode, especially right now, who's struggling to find that little bit of happiness in their life? What would you say?
Yeah, I think for me, what I've learned is to practice being present in the present moment, because I think so much of our unhappiness, either depression or anxiety, is because our attention is in the past or it's on the future, on things that haven't happened yet. But if we can stay present to the present moment, and things like going on a walk and being out in nature without your phone or earbuds in and just noticing what's around you, or developing a meditation practice, journaling, daily gratitude, some of those types of things, it keeps us centered in the present moment, in the reality of what is actually happening around us. And then we're just better able to find our joy, rather than put our joy somewhere in the future or leave it somewhere in the past. Oh, I was so much happier when, or I'll be so much happier when. Staying in the present moment allows us to connect to the good things that are always happening. Even when there's hard things happening, there's always good things happening, and being in the present moment allows us to key into those and really focus on those and make the rest of it just a little bit easier to deal with and go through.
So I hope you, the listener, right now, once you finish this episode, just focus on being in the present moment and just notice your surroundings, notice your thoughts, your feelings, and everything going around you in that space, and start to practice that. Some beautiful advice there, Kerry. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing all things your happiness.
It has been my pleasure. You're very welcome. And yeah, stay present and get outside.
Beautiful. If you'd like to connect with Kerry, you can connect with her in the podcast episode description below. And until then, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Don't forget to leave a review or a comment and follow us on all our social media platforms so you can see our upcoming guest calendar. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.